YouTube, welcome to another episode of the Mark and Mike Show. This time I'm going to take my GS camping for the first time, and I'm also going to share some views of owning the GS per year.
So hey YouTube, I'm about to go camping for the first time on the GS. Once per year our church rents a whole bunch of spots over at a local campsite. Typically there's 400 to 500 of us. I think we've had close to 600 in the past. And this year I'm going to try it out on the GS. So it's a pretty quick trip to the coast as far as trips go. About a 2-hour drive. Most of that will be on twisty roads. We've got about a half hour or so on the freeway here getting out of the Portland area. Fellow BMW cop over there. It's kind of odd that the waving etiquette for motorcyclists doesn't extend to motor cops. Not sure why. If anybody knows, you might put a comment in the video, but I will occasionally wave to motorcycle cops. I think they're so used to not being waved at that they tend not to wave back. Sometimes they do, but... And Mike's not joining me today because he can only get off on the weekends, and it is Thursday. Otherwise, he probably would ride over here with me. I'm trying to talk him into riding over on Saturday or bringing his family over in the van. So we finally made it into the mountain part of the drive, which is the majority of it. So I'm still loving the GS. Someday I'll have to do a review on the things that I like and don't like after having it for got just about 10,000 miles on it now, just shy of 10,000. Had it for a little over a year. Still really love it. I'm very happy that I bought it. The things that I've complained about when it was brand new are things that I actually kind of like about it now. For example, I had expected, being BMW's flagship, they make nicer, sport bikes and touring bikes, but the GS is it's their standout bike. And I would have expected the motor to be smoother, a little less vibration, a little less valve train noise, especially when you compare it to Japanese bikes. I would have expected it to have more horsepower, get better gas mileage. It's kind of like a Harley in that it's just got the old school technology. But that said, one of the reasons that, one of the things that's changed in my opinion of the bike is, like a Harley, that's one of the things that makes the GS a GS. It's kind of like a Jeep. I've been looking at Jeeps recently, Wranglers, and Jeep has to be careful not to make the Wrangler too refined, or they take away from what makes it a Wrangler. And same with the GS. I have kind of come to love the rumble that the bike makes. The valve train noise, everything. I've even though it irritated me a bit when I first got it, now it's kind of what makes it more fun to ride than some of the other bikes that I've owned. I still wish it had more horsepower and better gas mileage. If I want to pass somebody, I have to rev it up a fair amount to jump out around them, where a lot of the Japanese sport bikes that I've owned, like here, see it just doesn't accelerate as fast as I would expect a bike like this to. Had I been on VFR or some sort of a sport bike, I would have just jumped right around that car. Not to say that it sucks, but it just doesn't accelerate like I would expect a bike that's this expensive to accelerate. So a beautiful day for a ride. And you can see on this road, it's pointless to pass people. I wouldn't have passed that guy if I wasn't trying to show kind of the issues with the bike when it comes to passing, because you pass one person and there's just a bunch of other people ahead of you. And for those of you that are curious, we are going 65 miles an hour. It is right at 4,000 RPM. And the bike runs nice at 4,000 RPM. The gas mileage drops some. Looks like we're getting 40, a little over 40 maybe right now. And if we speed up to 70, 75, that's going to drop down into the 30s, high, 38, something like that. If we slow down to 60, we'll be getting 50 miles per gallon. And I guess it's just this bike is not very aerodynamic, because it's kind of a surprise how much the speed affects the gas mileage. Always feels good to stand. Oops, kind of cooling down a little bit though. 69 degrees, so it's gone from being in the 80s down to the upper 60s. I think I'll pull over up here. Looks like everything's still there.
And when I bought my GS, they did not have any blue GSs that weren't lowered, and I really liked the blue color, so I actually had to wait a while for this one to come in. And I'm really glad I waited, because I really like the bike. And I don't know if you've ever got stuck behind traffic before.
Uh-oh. I picked a bad time to take a break. We'll be stuck behind that guy for sure. So I pulled over to change my gloves and put on an extra shirt. Zip up all the bits on my jacket that I can't zip while I'm riding. I guess now we'll go get stuck behind that truck. Oh well. So we are almost at the beach, and the temperatures have dropped considerably. It's 62 degrees out now, kind of damp. Well, I was actually hoping to pull over at one of the viewpoints up here and get some nice pictures of the bike. But it looks like we are in the clouds. There's apparently a low layer of clouds, so it's all foggy up here. So I don't think we're going to get cool pictures. So on a nice day, there's a beautiful view up here. It's a little bit too cloudy today, or foggy, low clouds, for there to be much of a view. So you can see there's some out there. Don't know how much that shows up on the GoPro. So that's the beach we're going to, the beach that's down there. The campsite is right on the other side of the dune from the beach. The Ham Bay State Park, 1/4 mile, that's where we're going. And all the other bikes that I've had to buy gas here before I can return home. This bike, we can go down and back without a problem. And all the campsites with the signs, those are people from our church. And most people will come down Friday. Today's Thursday. So there'll be quite a few more people later in the week. But there's still quite a few people like me that come early. Even though it's hard to call this camping, it is a lot of fun to hang out with your friends. That poor little girl, she thinks motorcycles are loud. That's too funny. Had the neighbor kid come up to me the other day and was asking about the motorcycle, and he says, motorcycles are dangerous. I figured his mom must have told him that. I told him that could be true, but they're also a lot of fun. So it's like my buddy Dave is here, and here's my campsite.
So I know this isn't really camping. Most of my camping over the years has been up in wilderness areas, backpacking. I actually love to camp, although I haven't done a whole lot of it in the last 15 years or so. But we did have a really good time. I spent the night and then rode back home the next day, picked up my wife, brought her back in the car. We spent a few more days. It actually rained, but we still had a really good time. So as always, thanks for watching. Man, that's a good looking bike. I really like the dark blue GS. It's just, and I love the look of the adventure bike. Pretty cool.